on the dirt for the last 2 rounds of the 2018 NASA RallyCross Challenge season, we can essentially crown this man a 3-time Drivers' Champion. Hello everyone, welcome here back to the Lucas Oil Raceway in Claremont, Indiana for the 9th round of the NASA RallyCross Challenge in 2018 as it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call, as always, for the Automotive Sports Network. Aforementioned Philip Kraus, as we start talking about him, he hits the wall in practice, but he is officially the champion in 2018 And once again, for our second Generation 4 season, the championship has been clinched a race early. 17-point lead is not a full race, but with only 8 cars as we jump into the format, it's going to be pretty hard for anyone to catch him. 2 heat races, 6 laps apiece, Joker lap once. The other drivers will be put into a 4-lap LCQ, Joker lap once. In the final 10 laps, Joker twice, as Parisi and Appelgren are back after a couple of weeks off. As for some strange reason, they had other commitments. They weren't able to run the Gymkhana rounds. So, Vusion Racing has switched to Ford. There is a one-time manufacturer switch, so we'll have to see if Vusion's going to be as quick in the Fords as they are in the Subarus. And Kraus, faster than Parisi, though, in qualifying. So we'll jump right into heat number 1. So on pole will be champion-elect Philip Kraus, and it's interesting to know that MRT, for literally the 5th or 6th consecutive season, will be cars number 1 and 2. Kraus Mertz, Ray Kingsbury, Jacob Kraus, getting ready for heat number 1 in Indianapolis. Green flag off the line. Kraus will beat his teammate down to turn number 1. Remember, oval turns 3 and 4. Kingsbury on the outside of Mertz as we exit the oval to begin the first lap of the race. Kraus shoots the gap 3 wide with Mertz and Kingsbury, and around is the defending champion off the front bumper of Jacob Kraus. So the Wisconsin native lets the German through, but already on the back foot. And Philip Kraus loves this. He was quicker than Parisi in qualifying, and we know that the Canadian has certainly ramped up his pace. Ray Kingsbury from Connecticut squeaked into a podium last week after Mertz drove it off the road. And we know the American certainly wants to get better results in the NASA RallyCross Challenge. As we end the first lap of the race in Indianapolis, Philip Kraus leads us. Now we'll have to see if the Joker strategy begins to unravel. Kingsbury immediately Jokers. Defending champion Mertz does not. Kingsbury runs it wide in the 25. And the gap has clawed back. Nearly contact between these two. These guys becoming very close friends on and off the track. And we've certainly seen some incredible racing between these two. Through the sweeper. Mertz tried to take it to the inside, couldn't make anything happen. Kingsbury's got about a 3-car length advantage. Kraus still leads as we take the 3rd lap of the race. Mertz Joker's now in the 1, but he cannot take the fight to Kingsbury. Locks up the rear brakes in car number 1. Onboard Kingsbury, car number 25 for Last Lap Motorsports, over the jump. How much of a gap he has over Mertz, but Mertz gets through the dirt so much better than the last lap car. Very different entries to the corner. He runs it wide. He got close, and this battle's ramping up. Cross flags for the Canadian. He's all by himself. The battle is between these two for the transfer spot after Mertz ended up in the fence on the start. Down to turn 1. Gap has been halved. About a car length now between Kingsbury and Mertz. Through turn 2, through turn 3. Mertz looks like he gives him the bumper, but he can't get back to the throttle. Over the jump again. And these two have had numerous battles before. Remember Atlanta a couple weeks ago? To the inside went Mertz. He looked on Kingsbury, couldn't make it happen. As this is the battle that we're focusing on. as Philip Kraus is out and away from these two, and Jacob Kraus struggling in the 42. 2 to go. Can Kingsbury hold off the 1? Runs it wide in the 25, but Mertz followed him. He couldn't take the advantage. Through turn 2. Through turn 3. Running it wide is car number 1. He'll have to give up the 1 once again and be car number 2 next season. But we know defending a championship is much harder than winning a championship. Through the sweeper. He looked again. Will he take the fight to him? They're side by side. That's the best run that Mertz had through the dirt hairpin. Side by side, the two Subarus through the final corner. As we take the white flag for the transfer spot, Kingsbury had the run on the outside. Mertz looks to the inside. He makes contact with him as Kingsbury shut the door. As the Connecticut native holds on. No! Mertz takes the second spot. But he runs it wide. Kingsbury back to the spot. They hit again and again. Around nearly as the 1 as these guys are door banging for the transfer spot. Philip Kraus will win the heat race in Indianapolis, but this is the battle for the transfer spot. Into the hairpin once again. Mertz takes the advantage. Door dings him again. And he takes the spot through the final corner. He comes down on Kingsbury and around the 1 goes. As he pins the throttle, he's not going to make the transfer spot. Kingsbury will transfer in Indianapolis. What a battle. As Mertz and Jacob Kraus to the LCQ. And here's going to be another battle between the teammates. It's Parisi, Applegren, Matt Kingsbury, green flag, off the line. Parisi gets a better run than his teammate through the oval. As Dylan Livengood, once again, out of retirement, as his friend and rival Josh Mertz runs under the German license, but lives 2 hours up the road off of Interstate 65. And Livengood in the area, spending time with his friend. His friend says, hey, take my car and race, but a technical issue on car number 51 has hindered him from running in the heat race. There was something wrong on car number 51 and prevented him from doing so. So he'll have to go to the LCQ, and hopefully his crew can repair the car. A much quieter first lap in heat number 2. Parisi will lead us, and he will immediately joker in car number 11. Applegren in the 95. In second, Matt Kingsbury in third. And Kingsbury slams the tires in the 21. And I think that might have bent the right front suspension, as much slower through turns 2 and 3. And over the jump and into the wall. That essentially solves this heat race. As I'm not really sure what happened with car number 21, but I think that was a suspension issue because it spit him right into the wall. So the Vujian Racing cars, we're running Subarus all season long. If we can see into our crystal ball, it's going to be a Subaru versus Ford fight, and Ford only has 3 wins in the history of NASA RallyCross, so it's going to be certainly interesting to see if Parisi, who won here last season convincingly over the rest of the field, can take the fight to Philip Kraus. As that battle all season long, it's a shame that he had those prior commitments and he couldn't run the Simcana rounds, because we remember Summit Point, we remember Lime Rock, how much of a battle that was between those two drivers, and that realistically sealed the championship for Kraus. Because while Parisi got provisionals, Kraus is on 3 wins in a row. So it's going to be hard for the Canadian to set a record for 4 consecutive wins, but if he can do it, obviously, no one's ever done that before. The only other time that there was 3 consecutive wins, I mentioned this last week, was 2014B. It was Cody Erdman, where he won an Island Rally, Canada, and Munich. So way back in the NASCAR 2003 days, in the heyday of Erdman v. Mertz v. Livengood. Remember how well of a season that was. Incredible battles all season long. But NASA Rallycross in a new era as we take 2 laps to go for Parisi. As it looks like he hits the wall in car number 11, not like it really hinders him, As look at all the damage on the last lap Subaru of Matt Kingsbury. There's clearly right front damage. So while we have a moment, let's ride on board Connor Parisi, car number 11. Take a look at this circuit. Sometimes in racing, when you look on board a car, you can sit there in awe. And from the commentary box perspective, that's how it was. My mouth was dropped as Parisi was smooth and steady and wins Heat 2 in Indianapolis. Applegren transfers into the LCQ as Matt Kingsbury with Dylan Livengood. Green flag for the LCQ. Livengood is off the grid. They still haven't been able to fix that car, so it's going to be Mertz, Kingsbury, and Kraus for the 2 transfer spots in Indianapolis. And this is going to be a tall task for Jacob Kraus as he hits the wall in turn 1. Matt Kingsbury runs it wide. Mertz tries to take the fight, hugging the curb and nearly hitting the tires was car number 1. As Kingsbury leads us over the jump for the first time. And what a circuit in Indianapolis. Through the sweeper, which is normally the pit lane. Mertz took to the inside, tried to get the run, I should say, ran it wide. He goes to the inside of Kingsbury as these guys are battling side by side. Remember, they don't have a good history with each other if we think of Indianapolis, but the grudge is thrown aside, the history is thrown aside, and these guys are going to be battling against each other as Kingsbury jokers on the second lap of the race. He will come out, and it's going to be close, but Mertz will take the spot as they were extremely close, but Kingsbury to the inside. Mertz couldn't clear him. Side by side through turns 3, and Kingsbury gets hit as Mertz takes the lead. A little bit of a door bang between the 21 and the 1. As Mertz runs it wide in car number 1. And now it's Kingsbury's turn as we expect Mertz to joker. Kingsbury locked it up and into the wall. And we expect Mertz to joker, obviously, this lap or next lap. So we're going to have to see if Kingsbury's going to take the fight. Mertz will joker now in car number 1. Kingsbury's nowhere close to the 1. So I think that contact that he had in the final corner hindered his ability to try and take that spot. From high above in Indianapolis, Mertz and Kingsbury hold the transfer spots in the LCQ. It's very strange to see car number 1 in the LCQ. But certainly a fairly easy transfer. Still have a lap to go. Anything can happen. And Mertz is drifting. He knows that he's got this transfer spot as we take the white flag. Ken Block impersonation in turn number 1. It's going to give Kingsbury the spot as they door bang again. Not that that really matters. I think Jacob Kraus has actually parked the car in the 42 he has. We noticed Dylan Livengood on track as Kingsbury runs it wide. As Dylan Livengood just made it onto the circuit. Just running a couple laps in the 51, but it's not going to help him as he will not transfer in Indianapolis. Off of the final corner. It's strange to say this season, but the defending champion in the LCQ will transfer in Indianapolis, along with Matt Kingsbury, as Jacob Kraus and Dylan Livengood will not qualify for the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Indianapolis always produces the greatest races because of how much of a bull ring this track actually is. On pole, Philip Kraus, then Parisi, Kingsbury, Applegren, Mertz, Kingsbury. Round 9 is green in Indianapolis. Off the line, Parisi got a better jump than Kraus as they go through the oval. Turns 3 and 4. Kraus couldn't get the run, and Parisi will lead us off the final corner to begin the race. Ray Kingsbury. Applegren made contact with Mertz, and Matt Kingsbury in 6th. Kingsbury to the inside of Kraus as Applegren gets hit by Kingsbury again, it looks like, and ping-ponged off of Mertz. As Parisi and Kraus have been the class of the field all season long. Kingsbury in the sweeper. Kraus is alarmingly close. This battle is amazing as Matt Kingsbury in 6th all by himself. Through the hairpin for the first time. Parisi leads Kraus. Ray Kingsbury leads Mertz. Then Applegren. Then Matt Kingsbury. Off of the final corner to begin the Joker strategy. Let's see who will Joker on the first lap of the race. Ray Kingsbury will in the 25. Mertz will pass him on the rotation, but he runs it wide, locked up the rears, and contact between them again. And that's a very tricky section to go side by side in. Mertz pushes him out wide. Applegren takes the spot. He gets by Kingsbury. Side by side is Mertz and Applegren over the jump. And nearly over is the defending champion. Applegren runs it wide. And Mertz to 3rd. And we know Applegren's much quicker than the defending champion today. And Applegren to the inside. And the 2 purple cars. What a great livery for Jeff Applegren. But that's irrelevant. He takes the spot as they hit again. Back to 3rd is Jeff Applegren. For Fusion Racing, Mertz Jokers. Remember, this Joker doesn't mean anything, but he's going to take the fight to Applegren. They hit again! And Mertz into the tires. What a battle in Indianapolis. And we're not even focusing on these guys. Parisi and Kraus. As Parisi and Kraus battling in their own little zip code. And now I think the battle once again is Kingsbury v. Mertz. As this battle's still ramping up. These guys are on top of each other. 41-7 to a 42-1, but Parisi jokered last lap. Kraus takes the Joker, and he nearly makes contact. He does with Parisi. We'll have to see Kraus's lap as he took to the Joker. Parisi ran a 42-1. As these guys are on top of each other as well. Once again, it's Kingsbury v. Mertz. And what a battle for NASA Rallycross this season. As it's the American v. the Canadian and the American v. the German. As Parisi will take lap 5 to begin cross flags, 41-8 to a 42-2. So Kraus was a 10th slower than Parisi on his Joker rotation. Kingsbury holds 4th. Mertz battling with the 25 as he hits him and pushes him out wide. And that was a very aggressive move from car number 1. Shoves him into the tires. I don't know if that's going to be a wreck that needs to be under investigation. But certainly a little over-aggressive is car number 1. Through the sweeper. Matt Kingsbury, unfortunately, has had a terrible race. Currently sitting in the 6th position. Applegren all by himself in 3rd. As we have 2 separate races going on. It's Parisi Kraus and then Kingsbury Mertz. Cross flags for the American. It was 41-3 for Kraus, 41-2 for Parisi. These guys are on top of each other. In relation, 41-4 to a 42-7 to a 43-3. These guys are in their own bull ring. As Kingsbury holds 5th, Mertz holds 4th. It's currently a double podium for Vujian, and I think Kraus might be cracking under the pressure of trying to catch up with the Vujian Racing Ford as he hit the wall in the sweeper. 4 to go for Parisi. If Vujian can pull this win off, they will be tied for 3rd all-time on the wins list. Normally, that would be a huge deal, but 3rd on the wins list is Area 52 with 8 wins. MRT 64, Revolution 37. That really puts it into perspective. These guys are still battling to the death. I think Kingsbury's got some damage from when he got shoved into the tires, and once again, that wreck is under review between Mertz and Kingsbury. We're coming to 3 laps to go in Indianapolis. And what a battle that this has been between Parisi and Philip Kraus. From high above, Parisi still holds the lead. Kraus is getting agonizingly close. He is so close to Parisi, but he can't make the move. 2 to go in Indianapolis. Kraus jokers again. I don't think it's going to solve any problems, but he will take to the inside. Nearly hits Parisi. He was closer than I thought. And that, I think, might have... Parisi runs it wide. Kraus to the inside. I thought that would have given him the race lead. And this is getting fascinating, coming to the white flag. It got very close on the Joker rotation. Appelgren third. The battle between Mertz and Kingsbury has folded up. This is the battle that we are focusing on. 1 lap to go in Indianapolis. And the top 2 heavyweights of the NASA RallyCross Challenge are duking it out again. Parisi leads Kraus, white flag. As I think Kraus had his chance exiting the Joker, but there's still a lap to go. Parisi hits the tires. Kraus gets very close. Into turn 3, will he give him the bumper? Not there, over the jump, he's got 2 corners left. We saw in the heat race how crazy that was. Through the sweeper. Parisi leads Kraus. Into the hairpin. Will Kraus send him? He will not! And unless Kraus can get the better run off the corner, it's going to be close. But he can't get it done. Parisi will win in Indianapolis once again. It's going to be Philip Kraus coming home in second. A double podium for Vusion Racing in the Fords as Appelgren is third. Mertz comes home in fourth. Ray Kingsbury 5th, Matt Kingsbury 6th. And what a battle, as Parisi now tied for 6th all-time on the wins list with Tanner Smith with his 6th win. And Vusion tied for 3rd all-time on the team's wins list with Area 52 on 8 wins. This officially clinches Philip Kraus's 3rd NASA RallyCross Challenge Drivers' Championship. As we go back on those points, it's a 28-point lead as we go to Iowa, so unsurpassable even if we have 17 cars next week. Parisi 141, Moftaw and Mertz tied on 125 as Moftaw had some family commitments and got some provisionals for the last couple weeks. As Ray Kingsbury with 120. What a battle in Indianapolis. And we've got 1 race left to see who will come out on top between Kraus and Parisi. And no, it's not for the championship, but certainly this battle has been absolutely amazing. As we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of NASA RallyCross here on the Automotive Sports Network. We'll see you in 1 week in Newton, Iowa to wrap it up. But until then, so long everyone.